Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and trippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move rockin' on? Now who wanna move crossin' on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em, bingo bottle, never stop it till the beast and know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world.
What's up, everybody? This is Ted Karras of the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cincy Hat, and you're watching Bengals and Brews.
Yes, sir. We are talking edge prospects today. But first off, Newt, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Always ready to crack a cold one on an episode of Bengals and Brews, talk some prospects. I know we were just talking off camera, but like summer's kind of like coming to an end, and like have to face the real world again for me.
I know. So. Yeah, me and you both. It's like we have to be normal human beings again. I can't stay up clipping prospects till 3 a.m. like I was last night, and then wake up at like 10 and get a workout in and just kind of chill out until I do a live stream. I just can't do those things. My real world starts Monday. So.
Oh yeah. So I got it. Like we were talking, I got a couple weeks still. It's like a slow ease in. Soccer starts in, a week and a half, which already feels too quick for me. But I mean, like you like legitimately like in a professional setting go back. So.
It's over. It's over.
Yeah,
I feel like it's over. Like it's Wednesday now. I go back on Monday. I just like that dread already kicking in. But then you're like a weekend and you're like fine and you're back on schedule. But it's just it's like when you were an actual kid. For me, right? It's like you still got a little bit of nerves going back because it's a new year. You just got to get back in that groove. So
the people out there like working like real jobs throughout the summer, like fuck you guys, like
exactly.
Quit complaining, quit bitching.
Yeah, you bums, which I get. And listen, I don't disagree with that. But so we will jump right in with our edge prospects. We'll jump in with your edge 10. You said, let me try to get the hardest name out of the way first. This guy is higher on my list, and I'm going to totally butcher his name, but I believe it is Mateo Uyunglele. I don't know. That's the best I can do. I don't know where the end comes from. I don't know where the end comes from, but I always hear that. When people
I always put the N in there, and I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to be in there, but like, I'm not really sure. But Mateo, I'm going to call him Uyunglele too, just because it rolls better. I'm sure I'll probably say it 10 different times between now and April, but it kind of is what it is there. So with Mateo Uyunglele, I had him actually on my board, not on my board, but on my radar. Last year, I was watching film for Jack Nelson, and I was like, who in the hell is this man that is just giving him all sorts of fits on the edge? And it was Uyunglele. And the Wisconsin game was, in my opinion, one of his better games. He had the interception at the end, which is a batted ball. It wasn't like, oh my God, the freak play, but it was still really good reaction time, really good instincts by his to be able to track it and really close out the game in a pretty fun way for Oregon. With him, he's a raw guy, and I think that a lot of the things that he brings to the table are going to be athleticism, are going to be strength, and the biggest thing is his motor. Like, this dude does not stop. He's a high effort player. And he's one of the guys that I'll talk about in terms of like, floor and ceiling. He's got a lot that he has to improve on still, in my opinion, after 1 year of starting. I didn't necessarily see like the complete package, but I saw the path. I saw the things that you can work with and you can go forward with from there. Some of the things that just like leave him at 10 for me is just the hand usage and the pass rush plan. It's just like size, speed, and effort right now, and I need him to develop into a little bit more than that. I think he can still get by, truthfully, if he were to stay status quo. He's still a draftable prospect, but there's just so much more that he could unlock. And then the other thing was just like he looks kind of uncomfortable, actually, with his hand in the dirt, and I see him as a little bit more of that like 4-3 defensive end. Maybe he is successful as an outside linebacking, like 3-4 edge rusher, but he's 6'5", 270. And I don't see him, fitting that 2-point stance mold. I see him as like a true put your hand in the dirt and go. And I think that part of his game has to develop a little bit more. But all of these things, I'm not talking about a physical limitation. I'm just talking about something that comes with maturity, with practice, with a little bit more time and reps.
And we joke about, oh, we hate this guy, we hate that guy. I can't say if they're on either of our top 10 lists. And I don't want to necessarily speak for you, but I've got guys all the way down to like 20 that, the top 20 edge guys that I'm like, I feel good about, and any of them could shine this season and work their way up boards. And there's a lot of young guys in this group too. So some of them's going to go back to school, and a lot of that's going to work itself out to where they're going to ultimately fall on the board once all the declarations and this upcoming season is done, that they fall into play.
I mean, Uiagalelei is a true junior right now. So, we might not even see him in this draft cycle, truth be told.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys that are like 20 years old, and I believe he's one of them. Yeah. Thank you, Miley. So I was sitting here drinking water, and you're like, to have a beer. So I had like 2 beers left in the fridge. So I'm like, Miley, go ahead and bring me those 2 beers down here. Thank you, Miley. I can't let Newt just drink beer alone as we.
The name of the podcast is Bagels and Brews.
I know.
I come prepared every week.
I know. And I didn't go, I didn't even get a 6-pack or anything, but I was like, I got a couple beers, and I was going back and forth. Maybe I'll just drink water. But then you cracked a beer open. I'm like, you know what? I'll crack a beer open. But I'll talk about David Bailey first. I'll talk about my edge number 10, defensive end / outside linebacker / defensive pass rush specialist. He's listed at 6'3", 250. I don't know that he's 250. And not that he looks like he's completely thin, but I've seen anywhere from 230 at different times in college over the past year to now this 250 that I think I saw through Dane Brugler. So I was like, maybe that's what Texas Tech is listing him at, is the 250, and that's where that comes from. But I would imagine he is closer to that 240, which is part of the reason I don't think he's an every down player, and he's not been good against the run. But that's not why you're taking this guy, and that's not why he's in my top 10. This dude is an absolute freak show as a pass rusher. I mean, you talk about an elite pressure rate, like the ultimate high of the high, and true pass sets, 46.5%. That's just laughable.
It's stupid.
That is a crazy number. How are you getting almost 50% of the time you're getting a pressure?
We were talking about Josiah Stewart last year, being at 40% and being like, look at this freak. And Bailey's like, hold my beer.
It's just crazy. So he had, and the thing is, you'll see guys with more total pressures. He had 39. He wasn't on the field a lot, which is part of the evaluation too. Will he play more? Will he play every down? Because he's been a guy that stays in that 200 to 300 snaps. And you have guys like Keldrick Falk, who probably be on this list for both of us later, that played about 500 snaps. So it's a big difference in how much playing time, because one is very good against the run too, and the other's not. But you're drafting this guy as a pass rusher. The 39 pressures, 7 sacks, 5 forced fumbles. So he's got a little jolt in his hands when he gets there. He likes to hurt people. He's got the pursuit speed. He's got the bend. And he has a really nice arsenal of pass rush moves. He's got a spin move. Yeah. He's got everything. He's got about everything in his bag. He's got a rip. He's got sweat. He's got it all. So this is a guy that you're going to bring in. You're going to feel good about drafting him on day 2. If he, I believe he's a senior now. Maybe not. He's one of those guys that's been on the radar for 2 or 3 years. I'm assuming he's a senior now, but maybe he's not even still. But
he's a senior.
Finally. Yeah, he's been on the radar for 3 years for me. So he's one of those guys that's just okay, he's around. This guy's constantly getting pressure. There's a lot of talent there. But I still want to see him get more snaps. I still want to see him show something as a run defender so he can get more snaps. So that's the biggest thing I'm looking for. But the guy transferring from Stanford, obviously a high IQ guy in general, smart guy. Yep. But transferring to Texas Tech, who paid a ton of players this season. Easy for you to say. But yeah, I like this guy. I like it a lot. I do want to see what is his actual size and what he can do against the run, if anything. But David Bailey, I believe, will also be on your list. So we'll let you talk about him here in a minute. But we'll jump to your edge 9, and a guy who, man, I've gone back and forth. I've had him in my top 10. I ultimately he landed at 12 for me. And that's Mikael Kamara from Indiana, formerly James Madison, came along with Coach Kirk Cincinnati to Indiana.
Yep.
And Pressure Demon is where I would just start, like 67 of those last year or something crazy.
Like incredible number of pressures. And yeah, so Kamara, he's kind of the complete opposite of Uiagalelei for me. Like I talk about that guy he's got a really, really high floor. Oh, I'm sorry. Uiagalelei's got a really, really high ceiling, but he's, in my opinion, got to do a lot of things and put them together. I think Kamara is what you see is what you get. Truth be told, he's a 6-year senior. He played in that COVID season, getting some eligibility there. He had an injury that kept him out the next season. And so, that's kind of the age now him playing in Indiana. He's playing Big Ten football. He was first team all Big Ten last year. And we're talking about a conference that has players like Uiagalelei. It has Jack Sawyer. It has JTT. It has this guy named, I don't know, Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
Like
Dennis Sutton, who we'll talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Episode. And it's like there are really, really good pass rushers. And for the coaches voting for Big Ten to put him as a first teamer, it really goes to show, kind of where he is. Now, with that, he gets there because he's a high effort player. He gets there because he's an extremely experienced veteran in the college football game. I think he's got some really good twitch and explosion off the line. And I think he's got really strong active hands. And all of those things kind of come together to give you this player that, he's succeeding right now. And the pressures that you talked about already were, a result of that. He had a really good win rate, a true pass rush win percentage of 26%. Obviously not the freak show like David Bailey, but
26% is amazing.
That's a really good true pass rush win percentage. Got 10 sacks last year. The issue.
I want to say real quick before you go on, like I always say, I want to see, especially for like an edge defender and a D tackle really too, like if they can be on true pass sets, 15 to 17%, but 17 typically for an edge guy or higher. So we're talking, well above that 17 that I kind of think I want to see for pass rush.
For me, it's usually if the first number's a 2, I'm like, all right, now we're doing really good. But yeah, if you're above 15%, like that, like you are bringing some juice to that game for that. But here's the issue: he's 6'1", 265 pounds.
Yep,
he's small, and at that size, you are going to face issues with tackles in the NFL that have almost all of them 33 inch plus arms that are 6'5", 6'6", and that are just going to be able to, outextend you. The other thing is like he has good strength, but that strength for his frame is good. It's just like matching or a little bit below those guys. So there are physical limitations to him that are really going to cap his ceiling. But goddamn, I just love everything he does. He's a 0-star recruit and he owns it. Like he's like, yeah, I'm a 0-star. Like here, look at me now. And I love that. I love the way he plays the game. He's a guy that, ultimately I have no idea where he's gonna go. And like I'm not putting him in my top 10 as a pity. I truly think that like right now, stacking these guys up, this is where he is because he is just that hard of a worker and ultimately like just that good of a player where you cannot ignore the things that he is doing to maximize every part of his game. So a little bit of a Kamara rant, but I really, really like this player. I hope that he, doubles down on the success he had last year and finds a way to be a day 2 pick because ultimately I think you're getting a really good football player in your building if you grab him. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on him? Because I know we're not going to hear him in the top 10.
I have him at 12. It's the size, but also like he's got a good first step. He's got the powerful hands. He's got the natural leverage being smaller that he uses really well against the run also. But it's not just the size and the length. It's also athleticism. I don't know that he's going to test real well, and he'll probably get dinged when that happens. Like his overall testing numbers aren't going to be great. And it was still hard to keep him out of the top 10 because, like you said, he's a dog. Determination, effort, like you can never doubt those things about this kid. And at every level, he's worked his ass off to be where he's at. And you don't want to bet against him, But I think having him a little lower, I guess, is just a way of me saying I can see the NFL doing that when he ends up like going in the 4th round, but someone feels really damn good about getting him in the 4th round. Like, he seems like one of those players that you would get there. Even like a Carl Lawson, to bring it to the Bengals, who slid to the 4th round, who was undersized, mainly was the thing, but he was really good when he was with the Bengals and still jumping around in the league and getting a little bit of pressure and some sacks here and there. So I like him. It was really tough to keep him out of my top 10, but he was at 12, and that's not a knock.
No, like you said, a deep class. I think it's going to be fat in the middle,
especially if all these young guys do come out, and that's the thing. It may work itself out to where it's not such a deep class, but I don't know, man. Some of the guys at the top are some of the youngest guys, and for me, so
that's the thing. It's like if you get that 1st round grade from the NFL, then you're like, how can you ignore that? It's tough.
But yeah, I'll move on to Gabe Akis. I believe it is Akis and not Jackus, but there is a J in there. I've got 6'3", 279, but there is talk from the Illinois coaches and from him that says that he's down to 265, which I actually think is good. I mean, either way, he's a big, powerful dude, a former wrestler. I don't think he uses those hands as well as maybe he could, being a former wrestler, but it's not like he's got the power. It's just being more consistent with the placement of the hands. I think he could be a little better at, but he's alignment versatile, highly productive. We're talking another Big Ten guy, 44 pressures, 8 sacks last year. He doesn't always put his hand in the dirt. They kind of stand him up a lot. And he's kind of been a little bit of a linebacker, outside linebacker / edge player. And I want to see his hand in the dirt because, I mean, you're 6'3", 265. You're 280 last year. You're big, dude. You're powerful. And a lot of his game is based on power, So it's like I just want to see him. And he's got to use that power a little better against the run. Like that's some of the reasons he's not higher on this list. But he's just a guy, I think, another one of those guys, kind of like Kamara, that I feel has a pretty high ceiling or a pretty high floor. Like he may not be the 15 sacks in a season, but he's a guy you feel could probably get you 6 to 8 sacks every year. And if but he's got to develop in the run game really to be that. But I still think regardless, he's got a lot of tools to work with. Another guy that just plays like his hair is on fire, relentless motor type of player, the wrestling background. Yeah, I think he's just trending upward. I think another season from him where he continued, like every year he's gotten a little better. And I think this one, if he caps it off even more for Illinois, that he could really be a solid day 2 type of player because he's got a little bigger size than Kamara is kind of where I put him over Kamara.
That makes sense. Yeah, I agree.
And we will move on
to Deny.
Yep.
So Deny Dennis Sutton. I heard, I think it was a stock exchange, DDS. I hope that catches on because it's going to make things a lot easier. But so Deny Dennis Sutton comes in. He's 6'5", 266. So, I mean, paints almost exactly what you want to see, in my opinion. In exactly what you want to see. Like, he's got the length. He's got that size. I feel like, was it just me or was last year, like, it just felt like everyone was, like, under 250. And you had a lot of these guys that were really, really thin, and they were more that, like, outside linebacker. And now this year, I'm like, man, we're getting some dudes that are, like, hand in the dirt, 4-3 defensive end. Like, let's go.
Yeah, Abdul Carter, Jalen, Abdul Carter, Jalen, Carter, is it Walker? I'm like, he's not Carter.
Jalen Walker, yep.
Jalen Walker, Mike Green. There was a lot of those smaller guys last year.
James Pierce Jr.
Yep.
Like, it felt that way to me, and I don't know, but
we got some big boys in this group.
We got some like legitimate like 5-6 techniques that can really set the tone on the edge. So Deny Dennis Sutton with that size, you already love it. I think that I actually like his athleticism. I know that there's like some people are like, oh, he's got a really limited athlete. I'm not saying that he's like an amazing athlete, but I think he's more than good enough for the position. I think he can get off quick enough in order to like explode down the line. He's not super bendy. You're not going to see him going around the arc, but I think he's got a decent inside step to him. And I think he can do some things laterally that are going to be effective for him as a pass rusher. He's another guy played in 2-point stance. Why? I have no idea, but 2, 3, even 4-point stances I've seen from him. And I think he does look fairly comfortable in all of them. I think he's going to end up being a hand to the dirt kind of guy. And he's another guy that like, he just runs hot and it's what you want to see. And the last thing I've written down for him for like the positives are he plays his best football when the lights are shining the brightest. Go ahead and watch the Notre Dame game. Like, you're going to see him absolutely take over. Down the stretch, he played the best football of his time at Penn State. And there's definitely something to be said for that. Now, once again, he's a guy, he's still got to continue to develop in his technical skills. Tackling was shit. Like, he was over 17% missed tackle rate. There's a couple guys in here that are really flirting with bad numbers there. He was one. And then the run defense is just okay. I think that like he's kind of in a weird state where he's not like a true take over the game pass rusher where I need him then to be a little bit more of that like stout run defender. And he just doesn't have that. So it's kind of where I am with Denai Dennis Sutton.
And I've got a guy who is not on your top 10, but you may have watched him, may have some thoughts on him, but Cassius Howe, another guy. What's his actual size? That's a theme here for a few of these guys too, because A&M has listed him at 6'4", 255. I've seen 245, and I've seen as low as 235 in the past. So I don't know what is
a transfer, right?
Originally Bowling Green. He played at A&M last year, but he was behind Shamar Stewart and he was behind Nick Scourton. So I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me if this guy's up to 255, but I'm also like, that's not what I liked about him in the first place. This guy, I like his bend. I like his flexibility. I like his pass rush. I like the athleticism. Or is this another guy they're going to beef up this season, and it's not going to be the best thing for him like they did with Nick
It drives me nuts still. I have nightmares about Scourton. Like, just let the guy play his way. He's so good at Purdue.
Yeah. So, so he's playing behind those guys, but he still played quite a bit of snaps last year for A&M. But I really liked in the bowl game when those guys weren't playing and he was the guy and he got more snaps. He absolutely looked fantastic. At Bowling Green in 23, like you mentioned, he had 9.5 sacks and 44 pressures. Step up in competition, obviously, with A&M playing behind two other guys in a rotational role, and he still had 34 pressures. So that's still very solid. Like 34 pressures for a guy playing in a rotational role shows his pass rush juice. And I think he's got even more upside there because he's got a lethal spin move, maybe the best spin move in the class, and that's saying a lot because I've already mentioned this spin move for David Bailey. You just talked about Dennis Sutton, and he's got a decent spin move that maybe he shouldn't try to use as much as he does, though. But he's got to cut down on penalties because he had 8 of them last year, and it's like, why the heck? 8 penalties for a defensive player is just weird for a defensive player.
As a rotational defensive player.
Yeah, like, so that number kind of surprised me. I didn't see every one of those penalties, but I'm like, well, why did you have that? And I still think he's a bit small. I don't necessarily need him. If he is up to the 250 range and he still looks the same athlete with the same bend and the same flexibility around the edge, then I'm going to be pretty excited that he's got up to that. But yeah, I'm expecting that this is the guy who could come in, possibly have a double-digit type season. But another guy, I just need to know what is his actual measurables. When we get later in the year, is this a guy that's if he comes in at 235, I'm going to be like, well, okay, my concerns about the run game. This is another DPR, and maybe I like David Bailey in that role more than him. But if he can show more as a run defender, still keep that same athleticism and weigh a little more, I'll be even more excited about Cassius Howe. I really like this guy. Did you get a chance to watch him at all, and do you have any thoughts on him?
I saw a game of his, and it was a game for Bowling Green. That's why I was remembering that. So, no, I didn't not enough to kind of comment on that, especially from being 2 years ago. I'm excited to watch him now. like I like that juiced up player. They're always fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, to your point, like you wonder, really what are you going to be able to do as far as like stand out? But I mean, you having him there at 8 is definitely something that makes me want to put eyes on him a little bit more.
Yeah, I really like his pass rush skill set that he already has. And when you see that spin move, because I know you got a guy that's not on my list that you have much higher that also has a nice spin move. I think this guy has a better spin move than him. So you may get really excited when you see Cassius Howell's spin move. I'm just saying.
I was saying I'm maybe not as much of a sucker as Bill Sparks is for a pretty spin move, but it'll get my attention, that's for sure. But what a great transition then into David Bailey. So I think you said it really well. I think, and this is kind of the point where this conversation comes up because we've only done offensive players up to this point, where running backs and tight ends are probably the only two positions where you can be like, I would say like scheme dependent in like the run or the pass game, where every other position on offense, you have to be like adequate in both. And even running back and tight end to a point, like you want a well-rounded player. When you hit your defensive line, that's where you really get the opportunity to be unique as a player. And so that's like David Bailey. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. He is a DPR all day long. Yeah. I don't think in the league he'll ever be anything more than a DPR, because if you add weight on this guy to a detrimental point, he's going to lose that aspect of his game, and he's going to be maybe mediocre at both. But holy shit, if you can get this guy on your team and you can put him out there for second and long and third down situations, watch out, because exactly what you just said, the pass rush skill set is extremely well refined. The win rate speaks for itself with that ludicrous number that we're talking about. He's not an every down defender. He's not. I don't think he'll ever be an every down defender. And if anyone tried to put him in that bucket, I would say that is a mistake. What he does really well. Yes, it's limiting for his draft stock. That's why I have him at 7. You have him at, was it 9?
I had him at 10.
10. I have him at 7. You have him at 10. Like he's never going to be a guy that you're talking about, in my opinion, like with that first round grade, because he's just not a complete enough player. But what he does well, he does so well. And there is a place for that. And that's kind of why I have him here, because I think just that pass rush ability is incredible. And I mean, shit, take a look at Felix Anudike-Uzomah, like DPR all day long. Take a look at who the Eagles draft a couple years ago from Georgia.
Nolan Smith, yeah.
Nolan Smith, like, and he's developed a little bit more, but like DPR definitely to start his career.
We remember Nolan Smith as Bengals fans because we took Miles Murphy, and I still like Miles Murphy, but yeah, it's sometimes like, give me that juice, give me that juice.
And that's the thing is like, there's a place for guys like this. And so that's why he's here. Ultimately, I would expect him, if he has the same year that he does, to probably be sitting somewhere around here on the board, because I don't know how much higher I can push him because of that one-dimensional part of his game, but God, does he do that so well.
Yeah, it's solid. Like another guy that I feel pretty safe, like you take in the second round, you're very happy about what he gives you. Second, Absolutely. Third round on day 2. And it's sometime on day 2, and you're like, all right, rush the passer, buddy, when we need you to rush the passer. Now, on the complete flip side, I've got Tyreek Sapp. This guy needs to work on rushing the passer, but that's not why I like him. I like this guy because he is going to be a run defender, a set the edge guy, a let me just be a dog against run defense and play in the league for 10 years. He's 6'2", 267 out of Florida. So he's not the longest. He's not this or that, but he's stout. He had a 12.1% stop rate. That was one of the highest in the country last season, and I expect that to continue and him be among the highest in the country again this season. He's got excellent leverage with that smaller size, consistently sheds blocks really well. He hasn't shown too much as a pass rusher, but still had 26 pressures. A lot of that is just going to be power-based. He doesn't have a deep pass rush arsenal. He doesn't always have the best pass rush plan. Those are things that I'd like to see him work on. if he wants to, maybe rise from like a third, fourth round type player as just like, hey, you're a solid run defender. We like you, but we know if you're not giving us too much pass rush juice, we can't take you too high. So if I can see more from him there, then I could maybe even bump him up from my DN7. But I feel another guy with like a high floor. He might not. I think his ceiling's limited because of the lack of length and maybe the limitations as a pass rusher. But
so he's edge 11 for me. So like not far off at all. I really, really liked him. To the points that you just said. I think that with him, you're getting a player that complements David Bailey really, really well. I think he does have the opportunity to maybe give a little bit more juice. He had 8 sacks last year. It's not like he can't get after it. He did a really good. The thing about him that's I think really cool. He did a great job of converting his pressures to sacks. Like almost a third of his pressures turned into sacks. Which there are some guys that we'll talk about like at the top of the list that, man, they cannot turn a pressure into a sack for whatever reason. So I think that Sapp is a fun player. I have him, at 11 just because of some of those limitations as a pass rusher currently. And then obviously the length is a little bit detriment, but agree with a lot of the things you said.
I want to be honest here, Nostradamus. I don't know who is on Syracuse D-line for me to watch. I know they had a really good defensive tackle like Mahad Watson or something like that, and he transferred to Texas. So you tell me some players to watch for them, and I'll keep an eye out on them. I know they had some guys last year, but I don't know who I have for them this year, to be honest. And Crip, I know this is a joke about something, but are you talking about DeGuara or whatever? Is that guy still on the roster for Green Bay?
No,
from
he's
Cincinnati.
not.
He's not. Sorry, Crip. Can't make your joke. He's not on the roster anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So for the podcast listeners, Ryan Sparks says, can't turn a pressure into a sack. Don't trash talk Shamar Stewart. Now, all right. We will move on to Newt's edge 6, which was the guy I had at edge 9, and it's Gabe Akis.
Yeah. So I really like Akis. I think that the athleticism is there. I don't think he's the best athlete in this class, but I think he's definitely an adequate athlete. You mentioned I love how you brought this up too, because I had the exact same thing written down. He's a high school state champion wrestler.
Yeah.
And 2 of the things I have written down for his weaknesses are he lacks production in the run game when tackles get their hands on him.
It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't actually make sense.
Is he needs to do more with his hands when facing offensive linemen. It's like
you've got the size, you've got everything, you've got the wrestling background. Why are you not better at these things? Stands out.
So and like funny enough, like for leverage, it's just like it's okay. I don't think it's like stellar. So all the things that you think he'd be great at, because he was a wrestler, they just don't show through. For whatever reason, it is what it is. But God, I really do like the pass rush profile that he brings in there. The true pass rush win rate, 27.6, being phenomenal. But this is a guy I just mentioned. Some guys cannot convert pressures to, I said that wrong. True pass rush win rate, 25.6. He was below 20% for his pressures to sacks. Actually, the guy I have above him is even worse. But like with that, I love the pressures. Get home a little bit more often when you're doing that. And I don't want to trash this guy. 8 sacks. Yes. Like that's solid. Once again, we're talking about a guy that's playing Big Ten football. So like you're obviously doing those things.
Don't be trashing your DN6, Newt. Come on now.
I'm not. Once again, I really like him. Love the pass rush profile, the production, like over his career against solid opponents, like everything that you're going to see. I think I watched him against Northwestern, so I can get eyes on him. Or no, it wasn't Northwestern. God, who was it? Michigan. Watch the eyes on him.
Michigan when they're wearing those weird uniforms.
Yeah, so I got eyes on him against Michigan. It's like, all right, like, you're going up against some dogs here. What can you do? And I just think that like everything he's done to this point is really good. Like you said, the size is solid. The numbers last year, they've kind of continued to get better. I think he had a little dip in his sophomore year, but like he was a freshman All-American. He had a great year last year. Can you continue to get better from there?
And he hasn't chased a bag. You're always going to get like an extra like attaboy from me because it's like, come on, man, you showed some loyalty to your school. And Illinois is on the come up, but teams would have definitely gave him more money than what he's getting by staying.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, and like Illinois has been like kind of like that. I feel like it's just been like an okay collegiate program, but man, they've had some fun prospects come out of there. And it's just like every single year, I feel like there's going to be a
secondary guys, especially. I know we haven't talked secondary, but they've been really.
Well, then they had Johnny Newton 2 years ago.
Don't get me started, man. That one still hurts. That was another guy I wanted. Which, hey, he didn't have the best rookie season, so maybe I'm an idiot for that. But
no, I think he was. I think he was a little banged up.
Yeah, he came in injured early in the season.
Yeah. So, but like once again, all of these things that we're talking about, I think Akis is right mentality, really good pass rush skill set, great size. He puts those things together. Yes, he can be a little bit better at run defense, but I really like him. Edge 6 for me for a reason.
Ryan wants you to look up. I know it's really high. He was at Coastal Carolina. He's transferring to Louisville. He is not in our top 10s. He will be in the other guys mentioned, but we'll go ahead and give your guy Cleve Lubin some love here. Transferring to Louisville and Newt.
I'll pull it up right now. I'll pull it up for Ryan Sparks on the podcast. Cleve Lubin, true pass rush win rate. What do we got here? You can go ahead and talk. I'll pull it up.
All right. I've got Edge 6 is LT Overton from Alabama, 6'2", 274. He was listed at like 6'4", 6'5". And coming in at 6'2", I'm like, okay, that's a little shorter than I thought. But the 274, and it clouds the projection even more because this guy plays on the edge a lot, but he is kind of that hybrid D-tackle edge, move him around the line. I think that versatility is good, but it's also can be a detriment when you're like, where is this guy's spot, especially when they're in the 270 range as a 6'2" guy for interior or outside. Do you beef him up? But he created a lot of pressures, so 39 total pressures. You talk about creating pressure and not getting sacks. This was a Shamar Stewart. 39 pressures, 2 sacks. Those are almost identical numbers to Shamar Stewart last season, who had, I believe, 39 pressures and 1.5 sack. So he's got you want to see him finish better. You want to see a lot of things improve, but he's stout. He can set the edge. He's very solid as a run defender, and he still creates pressure, mostly with power. He's got a really great bull rush move, really active hands, and another high-effort player. There's a lot of high-effort guys in this group through summer scouting. My biggest question with him, beyond like he needs a better pass rush plan, he needs to develop some counter moves, but it's also, are you going to be a 3-4 only? Are you going to have to be a 3-4 in, and that limits kind of who wants you and where you can go and your role in the NFL? Because the 6'2", 267 tells me that's probably where you're best set to play. And his skill set, honestly, as really good run defender, makes it sound like a 3-4 in to me.
Which is perfect because would you look at that? So fun, Ryan, 42.6 true pass rush win percentage. So
42.6. So he's up there. He's up there with our guy, David Bailey, who we both had.
I mean, if you got a 4 in front of that number, you're solid. So
now if he can have that at Louisville though, Ryan, then he'll have my attention because Coastal Carolina, it's different. But I will say this: another guy that came out of Coastal Carolina that it translated was Josiah Stewart from last year to Michigan. He was originally at Coastal Carolina, and what he was doing at Coastal Carolina translated to Michigan. So there's no reason to think Cleve Lubin couldn't do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, when you're putting it in a little bit of perspective, obviously school, but the guys I'm mentioning right around there, Princely, Unman Mielen, obviously we talked about Josiah Stewart, David Bailey, Abdul Carter's in the mid-30s. Like, yeah, that's some pretty good company to be in. Do it in a big-time school, and then I'm going to be damn impressed.
Ryan believes in this guy, and we got our Syracuse update, so I'll get that too for you guys that are listening and interacting. We appreciate Deion Wilson Jr., Dennis, I assume Yaquez Jr., Kevin Jobity Jr., David Reese. I haven't watched a single one of those Nostradamus, but I will be paying attention when Syracuse is on TV to your D-line, and I'll pay attention throughout the year and see who stands out. He says they're a gritty bunch of gritty guys. So, yeah, we love gritty guys here on this show.
All right, so my question for you is, where did you get the 6'2" number from? Because I have 6'5" written down.
That's what I said. He's been listed at 6'4", 6'5", and I believe it was Brugler, but it might even been like I might have looked on Alabama's website, and now they listed him at that. I know I seen it, if not from Brugler, and Brugler's article on edge players, and it's in like the best of the rest section or whatever.
Damn you, Dane Brugler, for ripping down my hopes and dreams.
I know, because I was like, that makes a big and he doesn't. I never would have thought 6'2". And when I see that, I'm like, what?
6'2" and 3/8, and it says verified.
Yeah.
Oh, I
know. I thought he said
that hurts.
Like if you're 6'5", 275, you can stay on the edge, but 6'2", 275. You're a little bit of, and you're better as a run defender so far in your career. I mean, you do create pressure. Is this a guy you can get up to 290 and put a 3-tech role? I mean, but that's not what he's going to be doing at Alabama, but that's what you start to think about these guys that are at that size.
So I'm gonna talk about him and where I have him now. I'm not gonna change my opinion because ultimately what I saw in film,
right? Yeah.
Is kind of where I put him here. Yes, I love the size when I thought he was 6'5", 283.
Yeah, he didn't move. He didn't move on my list either when I had 6'4", 6'5" also. Yeah,
so I think so at that size, and maybe it's not as impressive now. I thought he's a plus athlete. Like the change of direction when he's running stunts and counters, like I thought it was really, really good in that sense. Now, obviously, we talked about like the pressure to sack has to improve, but we're still talking about a guy that has on true pass sets 27.6 win percentage. Like that's a great number to be at. He's still making an impact on the game. Yes, we want sacks from those pressures. He was honestly one of the worst of all the guys that I looked at. That I have a stat that's snaps per loss. So like tackle for a loss or sack. How many snaps do you have to play before you record one of those? To give you a little bit of perspective, a guy like David Bailey, he had 30 snaps per loss, which is damn impressive. Gabe Akis, 53. LT Overton, 121. So like, yes, he's impacting the game, but like he really has to find a way to get home. And that's also like in the run game, like he's meeting guys at the line. He's doing a decent job of that, but he needs to really be able to find a way to blow it up in the backfield. I want to see this guy take that step forward. I want to see him be, yes, a good player, but now go out and be a great player. Like the fact that he came back last year, completely agree with it because of where we are now with like, all right, he can do this part of the game really, really well. He's shown some of the chops in pass rush, but now like put the final piece on it. And I think he can do it. I think
well, and he knew he was 6'2", so he knew he needed to go show a little more at 6'2".
Exactly, yeah. So like, but like I think he can, and you put all those things together, a really high floor run defender, a guy that like has shown juice as a pass rusher, now just like has to put that senior season on it. I think that if he does that, it's going to be a top 5 edge player across a lot of people's boards because he's already got half of the game that you love, and he's shown the ability to get the other half of the game. Obviously, length, size concerns if he is there, but we'll see.
I am going to be curious to see if he still has the high missed tackle percentage, to see if he's still not getting guys on the ground when he gets the pressures by the quarterback and just kind of flails off of them. Knowing he's 6'2", you start to think arm length a little bit. You know, it starts to creep in your mind. That's part of it when you're talking about being an edge player. And that's if he's 6'2" and he's 290 and he's playing 3-tech and creating pressure, fucking perfect. Because we're going to talk about a guy, Zane Durant, that's not even 6'2". At least I am. When we talk D tackles next week, love me some Zane Durant.
We'll be talking about a guy named Zane Durant for sure.
I like me some Zane Durant. I was clipping him up. That was one of the guys I was clipping up at almost 3 a.m. last night. Like, I was like, ooh, I knew I liked Zane Durant, but then I'm like, all right, I'm going to clip up Zane Durant. It's the game versus Illinois where he was just incredible. So, yeah. My number 5, though, edge 5. Don't want to get into D tackles yet, but deny Dennis Sutton, who you had earlier on your list. I got him at 5, maybe a little generous. It's a bit of, I think he's improved and he played his best football at the end, just like you talked about. And I've got him at 6'5", 265. I've seen 256 or something, but did you have 265?
266, yeah.
Yeah, so big boy on the edge. I just think he continues playing better. I like his spin move. Maybe relies on it too much, as I mentioned earlier, but it's a good spin move. He's got long arms. He's alignment versatile. Had 45 pressures, 8.5 sacks last year. Got to be better as a run defender, like you talked about. I don't think he has elite pursuit speed, but that's kind of like you talked about. Overall, I think he's still a pretty good athlete. It's just maybe he doesn't have that top end speed, or he's not going to run a great 40 or whatever, but he's got enough burst. He's got enough tools in his bag that I think, he's still a pretty good pass rusher. And the tackling, over 20% missed tackle rate is what I had. It's got to be better. You can't be that bad as a tackler.
There's so many guys in this.
There's a lot.
And like
there's a lot of them.
The DT group too. It's just like, dude, just make a freaking tackle.
Yeah. Wrap up. And there's no excuse. Like, I mean, he's 6'5", 265. Like, you're not 6'2". You've got long arms. You've got to tackle better. You've got to finish at a higher rate.
I'll give Mikel Kamara a little bit of a pass. Like, his wasn't good, but like we know why his wasn't good.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I got on Sutton, and you already talked about him. So we'll dive right in to a guy you clearly hate at edge 4, because we got to get that joke in at least once per episode.
I was going to say we're like way too close on this episode here, but I know
you got a banger coming up at 3. So
I got a heater coming up at 3, but that means that you have a guy who's not even in my top 10. I was like doing the math there.
No, it's not true. It's not true.
Wait, what?
Nope.
My math?
You've got a guy at 10 that I've still got coming up.
Oh, I forgot what you didn't talk about. Oh shit.
Yeah,
man, you really like him. Okay,
I like the traits. I like the potential, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But you talk about
At first, I was like, is Patrick Payton or like Derek Moore just like living in his top 3 or something like that? All right.
I shot all my surprise loads earlier with Tyreek Sapp and Cassius Howe. I guess, because you had Sapp at 11, so it's not even.
And how I already know that. So there's it's not like pulling shit out of nowhere. Well, my 3 is going to be, but I'll leave this suspense for now.
I see the vision. I'm not going to shit on it. I see the vision. I do think it's a little high. Projection. But we'll let you talk about Keldrick Falk first. Your edge 4.
All right, yeah. So Keldrick Falk is 6'6", 288 pounds, and man, you talk about a guy that is built to just wreck the game in terms of being a stout, long, massive edge player. You are looking at Keldrick Falk. He's played I've got like almost 10% of his reps from 3-tech. And I clipped and put it up on X, him basically rushing from a 1-tech, shooting up the gap. I want to say it was against Georgia, turning around and then getting the sack on Carson Beck, which everyone knows how much we love Carson Beck on this show.
It sucks. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to say how much Carson Beck sucks. Thank you.
But it's crazy, this guy's size and what you can do with that from like a versatility standpoint. Ultimately, I think he's a stellar 4-3 defensive end. And we talked about a guy like LT Overton being, hey, like he's a run defender, and you're going to get a good floor with that. Keldrick Falk is a stellar run defender. Like, this is a dude who is going to give you everything you want from that massive body. Like, he's not leaving anything on the table. On top of that, he is a really, I want to say, like, because his pass rush win percentage isn't that great, and I think he leaves a lot of meat on the bones as far as a pass rusher. But he's had so many opportunities. Like, this guy, they don't ever take him off the field. They're just like, hey, man, feast. Like, at whatever you can give us. So he had like 45 pressures, which super high number, but the win percentage is a little bit lower compared to other guys.
Because he's on the field all the time. Yeah.
He's constantly on the field. And like, you're talking about guys that, I don't know, what do they play, like 40 snaps a game or something like that? He's probably putting in like 60 snaps a game just because
he had at least 4 games. I was looking at that specifically earlier. It was at least 4 games I was around that 60 number, at 4 to 5 games on the season at that.
For a defensive lineman is a stupid number. And like, it's super impressive. With him, he knows how to convert the pressures to sacks. 9 sacks on 45 pressures. Obviously, the large number of opportunities helps. But once again, you're getting a guy with the size, with good speed at that frame. Now, obviously, he's going to be a little bit slower, a little bit less explosive than some of the guys that are coming in 20 pounds lighter. But for what you're giving him, you're in my opinion, you're not questioning like, oh, do we move this guy inside? No, you have a really, really good player that you can play on the outside, and you let him feast from there. And I like what Auburn does to like mix things up every now and then. But ultimately, this is a really strong edge player, and he's going to be a guy that wins with power. He's going to be a guy that wins where he's able to utilize both parts of his game as a dominant run defender and then an adequate pass rusher with some upside to that part of his game too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty spot on. I've got him a little higher. I'll talk about him some, but it's not going to be much different than what you just said. Mateo Uyunglele, who I probably said it different than I said it the first time, and I'll continue to say it different every time I say it. 6'5", 270, as you talked about. I great size, pretty physical player. Had 10 sacks last season, but I want to, with that, you've got to look at sacks, but you also should look at pressures, and you obviously should watch the tape. Don't just look at numbers. But only 31 pressures, and that was in 14 games. So, yes, 10 sacks looks good, but 31 pressures in 14 games is not what I want to see. He's not as dominant as a pass rusher as he needs to be yet. I think there's a lot of things he needs to add to his bag. This is a guy who is a converted tight end. So you talked about maybe not always looking comfortable as an edge. I believe he was originally being recruited to play tight end for Oregon. So he's a tight end converting to a D end. So a little opposite of, Nick Harbor, who should be a D end, but he's playing wide receiver. But yeah, so I'll shit on him too, just for fun.
Nick Harbor's out here catching strays.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just trying to run fast.
You got me started with Carson Beck. Now everyone could catch strays, but he's a good athlete. I think he's got good speed and power. He's disciplined against the run overall, but he's not great at that because he's not great at finishing tackles. You mentioned the 17.5 missed tackle rate. He's got to be – one thing with the pass rush that I think could be better is his get-off. It's just not consistent enough. Some snaps it looks pretty good, but a lot of times it's just like he's a tick off. He's a step slow to get off the snap. And I think that limits him getting pressures, limits him having a more consistent impact as a pass rusher. And also, obviously, at his height and size, he could play with a little better pad level, but that's tough to do when you're big, monstrous guys like some of these guys in this class. I like him. I got him at 4, but I agree he's got a lot of things to work on. But but I think I have him a little higher than you because I'm willing to give him that initial bump. And I'll be very clear. My top 3, I feel great about. After that, I feel like from 4 to about 20, my 4 to 20 could have a lot of changes throughout this upcoming season, but I feel good about my top 3. But Uiagalelei is the last, and I put him at 4 because I see the vision, I see the upside for him as a prospect. So through summer scouting, I put him a little higher, but definitely got a lot of things to still work on. And a guy you've been dying to get to now is your number 3. You've just been fired up about this. Like I'm
so excited.
I'm gonna have to go off camera and rip a heater because, I mean, you're just, it's like, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So Max Llewellyn out of Iowa. Let's contextualize this. Well, let's start with this. So 6'5", 263.
Another big
Love
boy.
it.
We got a lot of big boys.
I mean, like, he definitely fits that mold of kind of this year's defensive end class. Plays out of Iowa, and if like anyone out there can remember a guy named Lucas Van Ness, I definitely can because I need him to produce this year.
Yeah, you're a Packers fan.
Oh God, it's just like Eric Stokes, just like flashes of him going through my head of like, man, can we avoid another first round bust? But Max Llewellyn, Iowa, so he falls kind of in that weird role of Iowa has like their, I don't want to say senior privilege, but like they definitely play guys that have seniority. He played, like to his detriment, to this point, he's played less than 500 career snaps. I think
that's crazy. Keldrick Falk did that last season.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's dumb. I mean, there are guys, I bet Denai Dennis Sutton was like pushing that too with his national championship run. Like, when you see the number of snaps that he's played, you're like, what's going on here? Why do you see that? Iowa contextualizes a little bit with just how they are. I really, really like a lot of the things that he brings to the table, just as like the character pieces that he has. So he's a high school academic All-State. He was the 2021 Iowa Team Leader Award for defense, 2024 Team Hustle Award. So it's like you're ticking those like boxes for me that might not show up on tape, but man, I really like seeing that part of your game. Now, that's not why I have him at 3. I have him at 3 because this dude is a fucking freak of a pass rusher. PFF numbers are not everything. And obviously, like, I put a grain of salt with everyone I see. Pass rush grade via PFF last year, 90.2. 90.2. Yeah. David Bailey is the only player on this list that is remotely in that. He's 93.2, so a little bit higher. Max Llewellyn did that with that limited number of snaps. He did that with ultimately what has been, I'm not going to say a stunted career, but a career where he's had to really work to get his opportunity to finally get a starting chance this year, in which he's going to be their starting edge rusher. He has length, mass, and athleticism that he puts together extremely well. High motor player, solid burst off the line, and the pass rush moves are incredible. It looks like a second contract player in the NFL. Speed to power, swipe chop, cross chop, and as Dale mentioned, the spin move, which apparently he's saying that Cassius Howells is prettier. But I will say in my notes I have lethal spin move. That's a good word to use.
I have deadly.
So
we're on the same page, basically.
A deadly inside spin move. The guy just knows how to get after the quarterback. Adequate run defender. I don't think you're, leaving anything on the table by putting him out there in those early down situations. I don't think he's going to blow the top off as a run defender and like just continuously blow plays up in the backfield. But man, you put him out there and you just let him get after the quarterback, and you understand that, he's going to be able to be that 3-down player because he gives you a decent amount in the run game, but the pass rush is just absolutely incredible. Once again, we're talking about an NFL that is going to primarily 11 personnel. Now, obviously, other teams run some things other than that, but it's like few and far between. Most teams, the majority of their formations are 11 personnel. They're passing out of that more times than they're running. This is a passing league. You want edge defenders that are able to get after the quarterback. Max Llewellyn does that. Love him. Obviously, he's got a couple things that he needs to improve on. I would like to see maybe a tick up in the run game. I'd love to see a counter move that's not just that inside spin. If he can add that, which like all things to me say that like, hey, he can. Can we get an inside counter off of an look outside? Can we get our missed tackle rate down a little bit more? Because 2 years ago it was 30%. Last year it was 12%. I like that drop. Can we at least keep it there? Definitely give me one thing. And then obviously the snaps. But, I could go on and on about this guy, how much I like him. Number 3 for me for a reason. Might even be a top 10 player for me once I release my big board. I like him that much.
I have my edge 17. So he's got a great spin move.
Absolutely hate him. Undraftable.
I already said my top 20, but come on now. 5.5 sacks. He's all effort all the time. I think that's the biggest thing with this guy. I do want to see how he holds up against the run when he's actually in there more to play the run and not just coming in as pass rusher. And I just want to see how he holds up in general with more snaps because he's going to get them this year. So I just want to see how he does. But, yeah, he's got a lot of traits, a lot of reasons to be excited for him. And he could be a riser, and I could be like, Newt was right all along. And then Newt loves when you say that. So
I don't hate it.
Probably we never hear that from our wives, so it's good to tell each other sometimes. You were right. You were right.
I come on this podcast to just get like a little bit of appreciation and compliments.
Yeah, pretty much. Reuben Bain Jr. I have as my edge 3, 6'3", 275. Another young guy, only entering his true junior season. Dealt with some injuries last year, so wasn't quite the same player. But as a true freshman at Miami, 45 pressures, 7.5 sacks, really thick build at that 275. But it's not – and you can move him up down the line, but not a guy that I think, I want him playing D tackle. I think he can be an edge in the NFL. I think he's got the skill set to do it. Another high-effort player, great closing speed. I think he's a better athlete than people give him credit for. He's got a powerful bull rush. I think he's got more bend than expected, which is the reason that I think he can stick at edge. I think he's got everything there to be a first rounder as long as he stays healthy. But I would like to see him add some inside counters to his arsenal, like you were talking about with Max Llewellyn. And I don't think he's got the same length as some of these Keldrick Falks of the world, Mateo Uiagalelis, even Max Llewellyn that are up here high on some of our lists. So he's probably not the longest guy, but he is just a bull in a China shop type guy, and he will wreak havoc and a guy you want on your team. So assuming he stays healthy, this is a guy who should be pretty much top 20, and him and the other 2 guys that I have on my list, I'm pretty bullish on them for being first-round picks at this position.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's I don't want to get this wrong, I feel like I'm blanking. Maui Goa is University of Miami too, right?
Yeah.
Francis. Yeah, I think it's just like, that might be kind of an iron sharpens iron thing. You imagine those 2 going at it every single day in practice.
For 3 years now straight where they've both been starters. Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. And I think you hit it well. He's number 2 for me for all of those reasons. He's another guy. The missed tackle rate is unacceptable, in my opinion. 25.9% last year. And I have written down exactly, needs a counter move, will stall if the first move is unsuccessful. I have the length concerns written down. And I think at times, especially in the Georgia Tech game, he looked fooled by misdirection. It almost seemed like counters or play action really got the better of him, but everything else that you said was just stellar. He does everything at a high level. Injury that hampered his season last year. But when we're talking about a guy, his freshman year, he was third team all ACC as a true freshman, which is absolutely incredible. Obviously, a ton of freshman All-American honors, freshman ACC. A guy that really, since the day he stepped on campus, and it's obviously, like, we've said the same things about Maui Goa, which I absolutely love, because I think these two have kind of had a really cool journey together. And if he just continues to do what he's been doing, and hopefully he doesn't face another injury this year, we're talking about a guy that's, once again, a top 10 pick easily, in my opinion. Yeah. If he just goes out there, I'd love to see the missed tackle rate drop. I'd love to see that. But beyond that, I think I'm being very nitpicky in the things about his game that I want him to improve.
Yeah, and he still got him at 2, so it's not like you hate him with being nitpicky. Keldrick Falk, you talked about, you had him at 4, I believe. I got him at 2. 6'6", 280. I've seen him 288, but he doesn't look 288. Either way, he's a powerful dude, like country strong type guy. Oh, yeah. He and that is his pass rush is based off that. He had 7 sacks, 45 pressures. He's got super long arms, and he knows how to use them. Not everyone with long arms knows how to use them. This guy knows how to use them in the run game. He knows how to use them to pure power, speed to power, pass rush moves. So I really like him. I think he's a very fluid athlete, especially for that size. I just think he's got a ton of potential. He's already really, really good in the run game. He's going to set the edge for you. Like, he's going to be very solid against the run, but he's also going to create pressure. Now, he needs to add to his bag. He needs to have a better pass rush plan. He needs to do those things to take even another step. But the thing is, holy shit, to have that ball of clay, and you've already shown as much as you have at 18 and 19 years old, you're just now 20 or whatever you are. I think the upside for this guy is an all-pro type of player. If he just adds those moves to his plan. Okay, yeah, he doesn't turn 20 until September. I have that in my notes here.
Yeah.
He doesn't turn 20. He's been 18 and 19 years old for 2 seasons, playing really well for Auburn and the SEC. Pretty good teams he's playing against. I think he's got a legit shot to end up as edge number 1 because all the traits are there. And I think scouts, GMs, everybody's going to love this kid. And I know he was already at their media day and stuff as a true junior. So when you put those kids in front of cameras like that at those young ages, it shows hey, this is a team leader. This is a guy we want out there talking for our team. So high character type guy too, with everything he brings on the football field. I love Keldrick Falk, and he is an exciting prospect.
Yeah, I just just to add one more thing onto that. So I think when you talk about a guy that's a high floor run defender and that unlocked potential in pass rush, I think last year a little bit to Michael Williams and the conversations that were around him and always wanting that next step and always wanting those pieces. I think that Keldrick Falk is above that because of what he's already shown you. He's already shown you a lot of those pieces that you want to see. Obviously, you don't want him to just kind of have the same season he did last year in terms of his pass rush. He's got to improve on that. But I think, for me, he's already a tier up. I don't know what you think. I don't know where you had Williams on your board last year, but
I had him at 4, closer to 50 than top 10, and he went 11.
We're probably pretty dang close on that. I think he was in the 30s for me.
Yeah, there was just a lot I did. I think Falk is a much better prospect.
I
already. Yeah.
So
we have the same number 1.
And it's a surprise.
TJ Parker. So we both have TJ Parker as our edge 1. I'll kick it off. 6'3", 265, true junior. I love the effort against the run and the pass. I think his plan and his arsenal is very advanced already for his age because we're talking another true junior, another guy who's probably 20 years old. He had 51 pressures last year, so that's a fantastic number, and converted 11 of those into sacks. And he had an absolutely ridiculous 6 forced fumbles last season. 26.2% win rate. So we talk about everything. He does everything well. Now he could be like almost over half of this list at least, but probably 7 of these guys could be better tackling people, more consistent as a tackler, more reliable as a tackler. And I think he could improve a little awareness against the run, maybe not getting fooled by misdirection and things like that as well. He's not going to have the height length of a Keldrick Falk or these other guys either, or like we talked about with Reuben Bain, similar type thing, because he's 6'3". But at the same point in time, this is a violent, physical. I want to put dudes through the field. I want to bury them. Like I 6 feet under type shit. This guy is nasty, physical, aggressive, and those guys just, when you see a type of player like that, you want them on your football team. And I don't see him go, like maybe Falk just otherworldly beats him to that edge one spot, but he feels very safe as a top 15 type prospect to me.
Yeah, I think, I mean, like if you look at consensus, Parker, Bain, and Falk are the 3 that have their names kind of like floating around there. And I would say that about, I don't know, 70% of the time it's Parker as number 1, and then Falk and Bain might pop in there. I know there's a couple draft professors that like have those guys in there, but Parker is, I mean, he's my edge 1 for all the reasons that you said. I think that, he sets up every part of his game to be just so well done, and he is such a student of the game. When I kind of like broke down my summer scouting for the edge position, he's not the athlete that Abdul Carter was. Like, just to like, because obviously
it's not the same player.
Like, edge 1 to edge 1, he's not. But like, we're also not looking at a guy that is a more of a stand up outside linebacker. And Abdul Carter can wear many hats, don't get me wrong, but that dude is just a freaky outside linebacker that was born to be an edge rusher, an edge defender. Like it just is. But obviously Penn State was able to move him around because of his experience as a Mike. TJ Parker's, he's an edge through and through. The one thing that I like have as a big knock on him is like, oh, he's only 6'3" and 265. It's like, well, he does pretty damn well being 6'2", 265. Doesn't seem to bother him a ton, so I don't know why I care so much. I think that like his length is okay,
right?
But like, what else have we got to talk about here? Yeah, he's got to improve his hands when it comes to blockers getting on him to keep himself free. That comes with experience. That comes with coaching. You're going to get more of that. He's not like a deaf to that. He just needs to see a little bit more of that. Those are coachable things. So you take like something that he's overcome and you take something that's extremely coachable and you put it with every single thing that you said that's like massive plus, massive plus, massive plus. I've got written down here, a lot of guys, they're just winning on athleticism. This dude's got a pretty good bag. He has a speed rip move that will just absolutely fool blockers, and he'll just be able to get by him like it's nothing. I've seen him throw a Euro step down. I've seen him, do a lot of really creative things to put those tackles on an island and then just flat out beat them. Not like, oh, I kind of got to their outside shoulder. Like, no, I got you beat. We created the pressure. We created the sack. We created the 6 forced fumbles, which I believe tied a Clemson record in a single season.
It's got to be up there. It's a crazy amount.
I mean, like, it was a no-brainer for me to have him as edge 1. For me, there's a gap between him and like my 2 through 4. I just like him that much because I think he's such a dude.
Yeah. My 2 and 3, man, I think they're all in the conversation, but I think Falk would have the best chance to catch him because of his freaky traits and just if he actually improves his pass rush and adds some moves to his bag, like, oh god,
absolutely. I do totally agree with that. Yeah, I mean, you get Keldrick Falk. I keep saying I'm going to say Kendrick. I don't know 500 times this draft season. Keldrick Falk. You give him a pass rush plan, he's going to be fun.
Man, best of the rest. This is, oh my God, we might need 2 more hours. I got Derek Moore at 11, 6'3", 265. We've talked about some of these guys.
He's at 12 for me, so
I think he looks a little smaller than he's listed. I've seen anywhere from 240 to 265 over his career, and I don't trust Michigan at all. I don't trust Michigan's measurements. I don't trust their what they jump, what they run. I don't trust anything coming out of Michigan.
Gee, I wonder where that distrust came from.
It's not because of Ohio State or the cheating scandal. It's because of the Mozzie Smiths of the world, the different prospects that have come out, and it's just not been what they say it is when they end up coming out. But I think he's got great quickness for regardless what his size is. But with that size, either way what it is, he has not been a good run defender yet. An excellent pass rusher, but not a good run defender. Anything you want to talk about with Derek Moore, since we both had him pretty high?
I did see, so like he's a speed guy. He's going to win primarily like getting around the edge, 6'3", 256 pounds. So, I mean, last year he would have been kind of middle of the road. This year he's a little bit smaller compared to a lot of guys, but he's definitely a speed guy. I did see, I don't know, did you check out the rep of him against Alabama where he actually takes Caden Proctor for a ride?
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Like, if you get a chance to check it out, like he gets into his chest and he drives him back. And it's like, this is Derek Moore. And this is Caden Proctor we're talking about, right? Like, just the most unlikely situation.
Caden Proctor, otherwise known as the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Right. It was a fun rep, but like that's not his game. He might be another DPR kind of player. And ultimately, like he's not like that super freaky one like a David Bailey is. Or a Max.
That's why I think he's got to get better against the run because
he does.
Like you're very good as a pass rusher. Your pass rush win rates, your pressures, all that's very good, but it's like you're not as good as like even the guy I got next, R. Mason Thomas. I don't think he's good as a pure pass rusher.
You think R. Mason Thomas is better as a run defender?
As a pure pass rusher. I think R. Mason Thomas is better as a pure pass rusher. So like for me, it's like I need to see Derek take a bigger step forward as a run defender so that he can continue to be above R. Mason Thomas in my rankings, because I've got him at 11 and it's tough. Like all these guys I like a lot. Like 12, I had Kamara, who I liked a lot, who was in your top 10. We've already talked about. And at 13, I had R. Mason Thomas, 6'2", 249. So you're talking undersized, but 31.3% win rate, 9 sacks last season. First step quickness, bend, closing speed, all the things you want in that DPR. Like he's up there with David Bailey, and he's done in Oklahoma. But we're talking missed tackles, 27%. Like, come on, buddy. And he's not going to be a run defender. So any thoughts on R. Mason Thomas?
I mean, he's a guy that's just going to get after it. Like you're getting him to be a designated pass rusher. Yeah. Like the 4.3% stop percentage. That's like, one of the lower ones. Hell, that might be of
Derek
all the
guys. Derek Moore is right around that too, by the way. I know Derek Moore is like
he's 5, but he's 5.2 even. And stop percentage isn't everything. I definitely agree with like some of the things. Average depth of tackle for R. Mason Thomas, negative 0.3 yards. So, like, I mean, there it is. Like, when he's getting back there, he is, really blowing it up. He's a DPR for me. I know that Sycamore is, like, head over heels.
Ridiculously high on this guy.
He's number 2 on his board. Yeah. I can't believe it. He's a good DPR. He'd probably be, I don't have him, like, enough to have him like a firm sorting for him, but it'll probably be like a top 15 for sure, a top 20 guy when it's all said and done for me.
I got Patrick Payton next, 6'5", 252, redshirt senior, transferring from Florida State to LSU. He just had a down season. The high missed tackle rate, 25%. Didn't have the sack production, but in 2023, like that's what I just went back and watched him more in 2023. So I'm like, okay, because I know this guy was thought of as a potential first-round pick, summer scouting this time a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you had a bad season, but 2023, 44 pressure, 7 sacks. If he can get back to that form, he's a guy that can jump back. He has so many moves. He has the length. He has the bend. He has a lot of things, which I also liked in Princely Umanmielen. Like, there's like a similarity there of just the things that I like with both of those players. So any thoughts on Patrick Payton?
No, I think you hit it well. Not to just dwell on that, but like definitely a guy, clean up the tackles, get back to that form. Down year, let's see now what you can do. Where he's at LSU now, correct?
Yeah, and Florida State in general was a shit show from like a undefeated team to a shit show in a couple of years.
Yeah. So hopefully change of scenery will be helpful for him.
I got Kenyatta Jackson Jr. Ohio State, 6'6", 265. Size,
had to get his Ohio
length,
State guy in there.
Yeah, I had to get one in there, but 33% missed tackle rate. So even though, it's just insane. He only has 4 career sacks, but he can move up and down the line. I think he's got better bend and explosiveness than most guys that size do. But it's all going to be about what do you do this year. It's a big question mark at 15 with him. Yeah. Have you watched him or anything on him?
I didn't know. I haven't gotten eyes on Kenyatta Jackson.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, he needs to show more anyways. It's not almost worth it. Like, he's every opportunity. He's supposedly flashing in camp, like Iron Buckeye, whatever the fuck that is. He's one of those. I don't know what that is. Anto Saka, 6'4", 250, Northwestern, reportedly up to 260 now. This is just a trait freak, strength, length, bend, attacks opponents like they talked about his mom, is what I put in my notes. But for a guy that size, he hasn't shown much in the run. I need him to be that intense when he's attacking the run like he does as a pass rusher. And another more limited snaps guy. Do you have anything on him or?
No, nothing to add that hasn't been.
He's another young guy too. Yeah, he's still young.
He was rotation. Was he rotational or?
Yeah. He's pretty much kind of cut. And it's like, dude, if you're up to 260 now, like I just need to see more out of him. Then I had your guy Llewellyn at 17, Joshua Josephs 6'2", 238, jumping into that James Pierce role. Like he's played at Tennessee, but now he's getting to fill that role. So I expect a production increase from him. 16.7 this tackle rate, so he's basically incredible at it compared to some of these guys.
Compared to everyone else, he knows
still
how to tackle.
Terrible. Undersized, good athlete, and he has long arms, even though he's 6'2", reportedly. So.
I think he's got an opportunity. Like all he's got to do is now prove that he can do what he did last year in that primary role. Like if he can do that, like I'm gonna be talking about him as a top 10 guy.
Yeah, he's got a chance. It's just the size is very, very small, but the long arms helps, for sure. Zion Green, 6'5", 260. I know some people had him high on there. I think it was Dane Brugler I got him at 19. He had him in his top 5 or 8 or something of edge players. Elite size and length. I just don't see the explosiveness. I don't even think he's as good against the run as like Dane was giving him credit for, and some of these people are giving him credit for. He hasn't shown me enough of anything yet to think of him. But maybe it's this reason. He had an 8% missed tackle rate, Newt. 8%. So this guy is so reliable as a tackler. And I'm not going to go into all these guys. I'll just mention some names. Trey Moore, Vincent Anthony, Wesley Williams, Marvin Jones Jr., Jaden Virgin Morgan, Trey White, Cleve Lubin, Ryan Sparks guy. Insane 42.6 win rate. I had it in the notes. 9.5.
Did you okay?
Cam Robertson, Ethan Burke from Texas, Anthony Lucas, who Anthony Russo mentioned earlier, 6'5", 279. Incredible talent, but he's been injured. USC. That's a guy I'd love to see it take a jump. He's still on here. Caden Curry, Ohio State, hasn't played a lot. Arden Walker, I believe, is at Colorado. Undersized edge, team leader, reliable against the run. Yeah, and then there's some other guys. But, yeah, long episode, almost an hour and a half. D-ends, man. That's why I couldn't do D-ends and D-tackles together, so we'll have to come back with D-tackles.
You were definitely right to make the call. Yeah, it's I really like this edge class. Like, I know last year, we're talking about not a generational edge class, but like a really good edge class.
And like the D tackle class was like, hey, this is a fantastic D tackle. I will say this as a preview for next week. I don't like this class near as much so far for D tackles. I got a few guys at the top. I like the few guys at the top, But after that, I'm like, I can't say like my top 20 guys I can all see, potentially being day 2. Any of them.
That's the thing. So now I'm not going to give any names, but like my top graded edge and my top graded tackle are like right here. I think that in my opinion, the best defensive tackle in this group is we're talking about him like a Mason Graham, like a Jalen Carter. Like he is a dude. And most people out there probably know who I'm talking about. But like all of the guys that we talked about for me, from Reuben Bain Jr. to LT Overton would be in the gap where like then my next defensive tackle comes in. There's a massive jump down, which we didn't have last year. We had obviously Mason Graham, and hell, there was even some debate about that in terms of like, who is the guy?
I loved Walter Nolan. I loved Walter Nolan. Kenneth Grant, because he's a freak show at that size for an athlete.
And you got like Tyleek Williams, who is a wonderful nose tackle. It's like
Alfred Collins from Texas. You had Vernon Broughton from Texas
in the first round. And then it was such. I mean, got to write them up, know all about them. Love that opportunity. I don't think I'll ever get an opportunity to see a defensive tackle class that is that stout in the top 50. I shouldn't say ever, but like it would be an anomaly to see a defensive tackle class that's that good.
Yeah, it was really good. So don't expect that. And I will say, like, I don't feel like the last couple of years we've had tons of great like nose tackle, because even Tyleek Williams, not always just like a nose tackle type guy.
No, he's a little bit more versatile.
Yeah. But we've got a lot of nose tackles in this class that I've watched already. I'll just say that for next week. Not that they're all in the top 10. Some of them are outside, but there is a ton of nose tackles in this class coming up. A lot of big old boys. I guess that's the theme for the D-line this year. These are big-ass dudes. Big-ass dudes. Man meat, as I like to call it. All right, man. Great show. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. We'll be back at 4 next week, and the following week we'll probably be back at 5, and we'll keep rolling these out on Wednesday for now, and then kind of go from there. But we're almost finished with our summer scouting. I've had a great time. Newt, tell everybody where to find you, because you're amazing at everything you do, and you can find them on 37 Podcasts.
Oh my God, he had to get it in. Honestly, like on X at NFL Draft _Westen. I run zerotechdraft.com. That's linked there. I have my prospect grade spreadsheet wide open, everyone. It's pinned on there. I've been clipping a ton of players. Similar to Dale, I've been putting them in my highlights for there. So if you want to see some of the clips and players that I'm looking at, I try to get to every player unless I think you're cheeks, and then I'm just not going to say anything negative about
Carson
you.
Beck. Carson
Beck. Weirdly enough, I don't have any Carson Beck clips out there. But no, I everything you can find me once again at NFL Draft _Westen. A follow would be appreciated. More than happy to interact in any way. I love just talking prospects. Love talking ball.
Carson Beck's going to win the fucking Heisman because I've talked so much shit about him. I can just see it now. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in.